Hey guys, Vox here, and today we're going to be going over slot skills. That means we're going to be covering healing, utility, and elite skills. Alright, so as you can see, we've got our work cut out for us. This is going to take a little while, so grab a drink or a snack or something, kick back, relax, and we're going to get this knocked out. Alright, so the first ones we're going to be going over are the healing skills. The first one heals you and your pet, of course. The second one is Troll Engine, and it regenerates health for you and your pet over time for 10 seconds. And the final one is Healing Spring, and it heals you, your pet, your allies, and removes conditions from your allies. Generally, I prefer to run with Troll Engine because it keeps me and my pet alive, especially when we're in a long, drawn-out fight. And there are a couple signets that I use in conjunction with it, but we'll cover those a bit later. If you want to be up close and personal, Healing Spring is probably where you're going to want to be. If you're hanging back and you cast it, it will give you and your pet a health boost, but it doesn't heal over time like Troll Engine does. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, if you want to be close quarters and in there, Healing Spring probably something you're going to want to look into, but otherwise my recommendation is just stick with Troll Engine. Alright, so moving on, we're going to go into the utility skills in the first tier. The first one is Spike Trap, which causes bleeding and crippling. I really don't see a whole lot of point in using the traps unless you're doing close quarters combat and you happen to use a great sword or a sword. Next one is Flame Trap, pretty much the same thing. I'm not a big close quarters fan, but if I was, I would probably use this and Spike Trap together, cause some real damage. Next is Signet of Renewal. It cures a condition every 10 seconds, and when you actually activate it, your pet will pull all the conditions from you and your allies onto itself. Pretty good if you find yourself getting hit with a lot of conditions, but otherwise, there are better things that can take up a slot on your hotbar. Next one is Sharpening Stone. Bleed your foes for your next 5 attacks. If you happen to be using a short bow, you ought to be fine without this because it has an automatic bleed effect on it, but that's for a different video. I really can't justify using this one. I mean, the duration versus the cooldown is actually really good. So if you really want to use it, go for it. But I think there are better things that work in conjunction with you and your pet a lot better. And next one is Lightning Reflexes. You evade with a crack of lightning, dealing damage, gaining vigor. I have never used this and don't plan to ever use it. Use it to try it out, I guess. Otherwise, I'd just say ignore it. Alright, next one is Sun Spirit. I'm not really a big fan of the spirits because it's all a 20% chance to inflict whatever. And 20% to inflict burning is really not that important as far as I'm concerned, especially for 1.25 seconds versus a 60-second duration. I mean, maybe it procs a little more often, but I cannot justify using this skill. The next one, which is an awesome skill if you're a pet heavy user like I am. You target something, you click Sick 'em, and your pet gets swiftness and might. It lasts for 15 seconds, and versus the cooldown of 60 seconds. Um, it's a it's one of my favorite slot skills. As you can see, I leave it quite firmly right there. All right, and this is an Asura skill, so we can ignore that. All right, moving on to the tier 2 skills. We've got Viper's Nest. We already have established how I feel about traps, so it's a trap that does poison. Okay, so your next one is Signet of the Hunt. Grants you 10% increased movement speed and as well as to your pet, and your pet's next attack deals more damage. I almost never pop my signets. If I do, it's an accident, so I I don't really use this one because the 10% isn't that big of an increase, or at least to me, it's not that noticeable. Alright, the next one on the list is Signet of Stone. As you can see, that's also in my selected selected skills here. I absolutely love this one. Makes your pet more tanky, gives you a little more survivability. Again, I don't activate my signets, but unless it's by accident. So the pet taking no damage from attacks, I really don't care. I try to keep them healed through it. Next on the list, Muddy Terrain. I suppose this one could have some uses, but with the conditions it causes, you can cause those without the need to take up one of your vitally important slots, just by using weapons or other means. So I just, yeah, not one of my skills. Not a fan. And here we have the Stone Spirit that grants you protection. Uh, Duration 60 seconds. It lasts, and the cooldown is 60 seconds, which is pretty good. But like traps, I'm not really a fan of the spirits. I don't really see a point to them. Frost Spirit uh, gives 20% chance to grant bonus damage to nearby allies. That's pretty cool, but 10% extra damage. Not really too worried about it. All right, the next one on the list here is Protect Me. Instead of attacking, your pet will protect you by absorbing all damage that you would take. I can see how this would be useful, but I've never actively used it myself, so I can't really comment on how useful it is in combat. I mean, 6-second duration versus 60-second cooldown, not a huge fan. So I usually skip it in favor of the excuse me, in favor of the Signet of Stone. All right, so we're gonna move on to tier 3 here. Frost Trap. It causes chill. It's a trap. And the next one is another one that you can see on my personal bar there. Signet of the Wild grants health regeneration to you and your pet. If I cannot fathom why someone would not use this. The heals aren't fantastic, but as I mentioned before, with Troll Engine, the heal, these two combined together will make it very, very hard for anything to kill your pet. So you have this signet combined with the Signet of Stone as well as Troll Engine, and you've pretty much got yourself a personal tank. So I dig it. Next one is Quickening Zephyr. You and your pet gain quickness but cannot be healed during this time. What they mean by quickness is your skills and actions are twice as fast. 4-second duration against a 60-second cooldown. No. Very cool effect, but this is something that maybe if the duration was up to, I don't know, maybe even 12 seconds, it would be worth it. But for 4 seconds, it's just not worth it. I mean, maybe somebody's found a use for it, but I haven't. And the next one is Storm Spirit, which has a 20% chance to give swiftness to your allies. That's pretty cool, but I don't really see the point in it. Like I mentioned, I feel the spirits are like traps. They're just not for me. I don't see the point in them. Alright, the next one is another pet-based skill called Guard. Your pet will aggressively protect the target area. The few times I tried to use this, I'm not quite sure what happened because I told my pet to go to the area that I designated. He went there and he protected the area, but it seemed like as soon as he was done fighting, he came back to me. And I don't know if that's how it's supposed to function or if it was a glitch. I mean, it's been a while since I've used it, so maybe something's changed. I'm not sure. But if it's supposed to function differently and does, it would be really, really useful, I suppose, if you want to have your pet watch your back or something while you're mining, so, or gathering onions or something. So it could be really useful, but I'm just not sure how it's supposed to function. It's not really all that clear to me. Maybe I'm just stupid. That's a possibility. So moving on, search and rescue. I use this one in rare occasions where usually it'll be a world boss or something where I know my pet isn't the one holding the monster's attention by itself. So that way, if someone goes down, I'll just say, hey, search and rescue. My pet goes over there and he will go and res somebody and help them out. It's a really cool skill. The only drawback is the really long cooldown of 85 seconds, but considering what's going on with the skill, I can kind of understand that. I would be happy with maybe a 60-second cooldown. So I'd say if you're going to be running dungeons with a dedicated tank person that's meant to hold aggro for long periods of time, roll with it. See what happens. I mean, the worst that happens is your pet runs from the monster to go rest someone and takes the monster with them and wipes your whole party. So yeah, if you do use it very carefully. Be smart about it. All right, and lastly, we have our elite skills. Um, yeah, right now you can see I'm using Misfire Wolf. It's pretty cool. But we're going to focus on the two basic ranger ones. You've got Rampage is 1, where you rampage with your pet and you gain stability, fury, swiftness, and Rampage is 1, which grants might each time your pet attacks. Sorry about that. Okay, grants might to your pet when you attack. I had a brain for it. But that in conjunction with Sikkim will give them a lot of might. It'll make them really quick. It'll make them hard to knock over or impossible. So running those two side by side will make your pet a very tough customer, and I definitely recommend it. The other one we got here is Entangle, which, if you happen to be a close quarters kind of player, this one I would not recommend using anything but this as an elite skill if you're a close quarters player, because I mean look at that 20 stacks of bleeding for 10 and a half seconds, and you they can't get rid of it unless they destroy it, and NPCs are not smart enough to destroy it. So guess what? They're immobilized for 20 seconds, or yeah, 20 seconds. So definitely use it whenever you can, because it is very dangerous and will help you wipe out entire mobs of enemies. It's great. Definitely recommend it. And if you happen to be someone who owns the deluxe version, you can summon the Misfire Wolf. And all the description says is summon a Misfire Wolf to fight by your side for 30 seconds. What I've noticed is he has the Misfire Wolf shares a basic skill with the Hyena, where it'll summon another Misfire Wolf to fight alongside it, which makes a great combination if it does it and you have a Hyena and you have the Hyena summon an ally. You'll have 4 pets running around. It makes you ridiculously powerful and awesome. I love it. He's got another one where all these little spirit wolves come flying around and doing damage and stuff. It's really cool. I still don't think I've seen all it can do, but it's definitely worth it if you have the deluxe edition. And the final one, which I'm not quite sure about, the Spirit of Nature. I've used it once or twice, and really cool on paper, but I don't think it's really all that viable in practice. So, up to you to decide. Again, this is really just my personal opinion, what I think of all these skills and how to use them. If you play differently, you know, leave a comment or something. Let somebody else know. I mean, there's multiple ways to play these characters and be effective. That's the beauty of this game. So, share your builds, share your opinions, and have a discussion about it. That's all from me for the day. I will be back next time talking about Ranger traits, and we'll get deep down and dirty with those. So I will see you next time.